Welcome back to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. I am super excited to be joined by the author of Money Game, and that's Daniel Mangena. Daniel, I know early in his career, noticed a recurring theme that held people back in their life, thinking that they didn't have enough money to do what they really wanted to do. We're going to talk about Dan's life experiences. But first and foremost, Dan Mangena, welcome to the program. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, buddy. Really, really excited to be here.
Absolutely. I know you've been featured on virtually all of the major media outlets. Again, you've written the book Money Game, your website dreamwithdan.com, and we'll send folks to it again and again. But Dan, I always love to get to know the person behind the microphone. What are some of those life experiences that helped you come to that aha moment that about the role that money plays, and frankly, the role that money shouldn't?
hmm I think for me, it was losing everything twice at quite a young age. I actually made and lost two multi-million pound fortunes by the age of 23. Um, there was a time in my life when I thought that the financial goal was the most important thing. Having to build yourself up after all of that really helped me to understand that money is a very great and powerful tool. And it's very foolish to think that we can live without it, but it's not the thing to make the primary focus and goal for your life.
100%. And it's interesting. I talked about this last week on the program. Often, when people greet each other on the street, they'll say, "So nice to meet you, Dan. So nice to meet you.
Mhm.
What do you do?" And often we are defined by our job or sometimes by
Mhm.
our education levels and so on. But you argue in Money Game that there's something that blocks abundance that's not your
Mhm.
level of education or your job. Can you tell us what that is?
It's alignment. And I think one of the things that we'll find time and time again as we start to really reflect on the wins that we've had in our lives and the challenges that we've had, no one aspect of us was wholly responsible for it. As humans, we've got a physical body that moves through time and space. We have a mind because we have mind over matter. The physical body can do things that it shouldn't be able to do because of where the mind is at. But also, even the law recognizes that our emotional state dictates how we are thinking. So we need to bring all of these to bear. If I'm just focusing on being positive, but I haven't up leveled my skills, I've just focused on my skills, but I haven't actually worked on my mindset. If I've done all that, but I haven't taken care of my emotional resilience, I'm not going to be able to succeed. And far too many people are putting all of their focus and attention on just one area instead of looking holistically of all of the being that we are.
Absolutely. I'm chatting with the author of Money Game and Stepping Beyond Intention. That's Daniel Mangena. And also, Dan, I know you're a podcast host, international
Mhm.
speaker, and a workshop leader, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. But as you mentioned in the intro, you've learned these lessons at the price of amassing great wealth, I believe, at a very young age, but you've lost
Mhm.
it all twice. So,
Mhm.
Dan, in your workshops, in your podcast, and everything that you do, how do you take those lessons, and what are some of the things that our listeners can expect if they pick up a copy of the book and come to some of those sessions with you?
Well, first and foremost, they're going to learn the power and importance of personal responsibility. Far too often, we do something that I think is really funny, which is we try to deploy agency in our life that we've given away through blame and making other people responsible. You can't be the one that's directing where your life goes if you're not the one that's responsible for where your life goes. So that's one thing. And the other thing is being open to being supported and recognizing that as humans, we're never going to get it right every day. We're never going to be happy every day. We're going to need help. We're going to need support. We're going to need guidance. We're going to need community. And when we bring those things into the mix of what we're creating with a clear intention and that alignment we spoke about before, you can become pretty unstoppable.
Absolutely. So, Dan, you talk to a lot of folks, and I'm curious if there's an ideal profile of folks that are ready for the Dan Mangena dreamer experience. And
Mhm.
what are some of the things that you've noticed from people that have come to your workshops, have tuned in to your podcast, and have read the book Money Game? Are there any success
Mhm.
stories that you can share with our listeners?
We've got plenty of success stories, but I think one of the things that I really want people to focus on is that people from all walks of life with all levels of experience have made their way into our community, into our ecosystem, and found that they get a big change, a big difference that happens in their life. But I think everybody that comes into our ecosystem that gets something, and really the people that manage to stay in our ecosystem are the ones that really kind of adhere to what I said before about personal responsibility. If you're the kind of person that's going to say, oh, you're the one that's going to do it for me, or you're the one that's going to make sure it happens, versus me as the individual actually committing to taking the action and moving forward, you're never going to get anywhere. You're certainly not going to succeed with the approach that we take. Our approach is very, very centered on taking our divine ability to actually create outcomes, to make changes, to develop emotional resilience, to develop a rock solid mindset, and to improve who we are physically so that we can actually create goals, and not in a way that allows other people to stand in our way or to be, the scapegoat for any challenges that arise, but people that really step up to the plate and say, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm creating, this is who I'm going to be. And they're the ones that generally get there. We've got people that have made millions of dollars within a year. We've got people that create financial freedom, people that have dealt with health issues and family dynamics. We've got so many stories, and you can see some of them on the website. But I think key is those people stepped up and said, I'm going to do this.
Absolutely. I'm chatting with Daniel Mangena, the author of Money Game and Stepping Beyond Intention. I know your unique philosophies and processes have completely transformed thousands of clients' financial lives while instilling the belief in them that money is an energy that we can all align to. Dan, I've really enjoyed our conversation. I want to make sure our listeners can find your book, get in touch with you and your team. How can they do that?
Dreamwithdan.com is the easiest place to find everything about me and what we're up to.
Fantastic. Dreamwithdan.com. Again, the book, Money Game, it's absolutely fantastic, and really appreciate you sharing your passion, your expertise. I can't wait to bring you back on real soon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, buddy.
Absolutely. Coming up after the break, we've got a lot more small business jobs and entrepreneurship. You can always get on my website, syklein.com. Follow me on Twitter at Shalom Klein. And be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share on your favorite podcast app. We've got a lot more in store for you, so don't touch that dial. Get down to business. We'll be right back.